guys, Miss Taylor here. Today we're talking about value, the art element. So value is how light or dark something is. So if we are working on a value painting, we're going to focus just on the lights and darks. So we'll probably think of it as black and white. Now we know our paper is white. So if we're wanting to really just look at dark, we are going to look at contrast. So we have two boxes. This is white. And then if we were to press down as hard as possible with our ebony pencil, or whatever medium you're using at the time, that would be our value on two scales. So we have a white and then we have a black, right? There's not much in between. But as we know, as we look around and see the world, things aren't always black and white, right? We could have black and white, but there can also be an in-between. And it's that in-between that we really have to work at, figuring out how light or dark something is, because that's how we get to see things like not just value, but it can give us depth, it can give us contrast. It makes things interesting to look at. So what I would like for y'all to do in your sketchbooks, I'm going to use a ruler for this since we're not just talking about it. You are going to make a value scale. So we'll start by creating this lovely box. And let's do, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do a 7 value scale. This could be more, this could be less. We could have a value scale of 2, but we could also have a value scale of 100. Okay? So how I like to set it up is we know that this is going to be our 1. And 1 is going to be as light as possible. So we're not going to touch this at all right? Then we know this is going to be 7. And it's going to be as dark as possible. So everything in here is going to be a range. So I'm going to start down here. One thing I want you to notice is as I fill this in, I'm using tiny little circles to layer and build up my pencil lead. So I'm not pressing down immediately hard because the second that I do that, I'm closing off the tooth of my paper, which is what makes me able to add more pigment or graphite to a piece of paper. And I want them just to kind of naturally take that off. Okay. So we know that's going to be dark, dark, but I feel like we could push it a little bit more. So we'll start with that. And then we're going to move to the next one. And this one's going to be a little bit lighter. So maybe I start by just filling in a few of these with a base layer. So we've got, these two are pretty similar. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to add another layer. And another layer. And we'll go with one more layer. Because we want this to be pretty dark, but not quite as dark as that one. We'll do another one right here. I kind of like to build it up. So if we know that this has 3 layers, maybe this one has 2. I think we're probably gonna do another layer right here. So this is at 4. We don't want it to be as dark. Go here, add another one here. Then we'll add another one right here. And I'm not pressing down super hard with our pencil right now. That's something that's going to take practice. I'm just kind of lightly adding it in. 2. All right. And as we work our way this way, I'm actually going to add less pressure on my pencil. So this was 2 layers. So maybe I'm just barely touching my pencil to the paper. Right? And for this last one, I'm not even adding any pressure whatsoever. Still making little circles because we don't really want to see where that transition line is between where we're mixing. All right, so this would be 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so that's our first value scale that we're looking at. But a lot of times we are going to want more than just blocks. There's going to be times graphically where you will want that for design, where you're like, this is a spot that has 2. And then this is a spot that has 6, and things kind of become like a paint by number. But we don't really see that when we're looking at the world. So I want you to we're gonna make another value scale. But this time, we are going to go without these center blocks. Okay, so this will still be 1 over here, and this will still be 7 over here, but we're not going to have these dividers. Okay, so we're working on smoothly transitioning. So we don't need any lead right here. So I'm going to start down here with 7. Just gonna start with my little circles. And I'll get lighter as I go, but I can still stay pretty even right now. I'd say we kind of want an even amount of pressure. Till we start getting to 5. Okay. So now that we're kind of at 5, I'm going to come back here and add some more lead. Because what I'm trying to do is match what I see above. Without that harsh transition line. We're starting to get there. This is super important in drawing because for things like skin, it makes it feel more real versus like design. I'm just gonna, remember when I said after 5, I'm gonna lighten how much of my pencil's actually touching. And you might even get some in-between phases. So you may have even like a 3.5 between, we'll get the tone that's in between here, and we'll see it right down here because we get that beautiful smooth transition. I'm still doing tiny circles because that's how we have nice clean drawings. We don't want to scribble because that kind of messes things up. So one thing to notice is that as I move to another section, I'm going to have this in-between section where I blend them so that there's not a harsh line. Swoop. All right. Move that out a little bit. Then we're just barely touching down here. All right, so that would be our smooth transition value scale and our block transition scale. So I hope that made sense. Let me know if you have questions.